Hey guys, Lemon here. This is going to be a series where I try and give you guys tips on how to become a better field commander in World of Tanks. I'll start by going over the basics of what a World of Tanks field commander should be doing as soon as he knows the map and the enemy team lineup. We'll then move on to more complex things, such as knowing how to react to enemy movement and knowing where to position your tanks mid-game and end-game. But as I said, the first video in this series is going to be going over the basics. So really, when you load in and you get the battle start timer come up at the top, you want to be pressing tab and going over what the enemy team have compared to what you have, and also what map you're on and what side you spawn on the map. Now, as you can see, we've spawned on the northern side, which means we, I think, have an advantage in going to the town, because not only is there slightly less ground to cover from here to here, but there's also much more strategic placing in the town from the north. Now as you can see in our lineup, we run 4 IS-7s, 3 T110E5s, 5 Batchats, 2 Object 140s, and an artillery. The IS-7s and the E5s are the damage dealers and the damage takers. Those guys will be spread out in the town to make sure that nothing gets through. Our Batchats will be down here and on the ridgeline, making sure that nothing will come around our flank. The artillery will be set at the back of the map, doing what he can to shoot. The Object 140s we primarily use Object 140s to cover the Batchats while they're reloading, and also it can add a bit of flavour to our attack when we go in, because once the Batchats are reloading, the Object 140s can continue firing and make it look like the Batchats are still firing, even though they're clearly not, and that can all add some confusion into the enemy team lineup. But anyway, let's get on with this battle, and we will see what happens. But at the beginning of the game, I say to our IS-7s to go around here, and to the E5s to go around here. Or it may be vice versa, I can't remember. But you have to be clear in your instructions as a field commander. At the beginning of the game, you have to be certain what you need to do. Even if it's not the right move, you've got to be certain what you want to do. Because uncertainty in World of Tanks will cost you games. And I say to the Batchat, which is Lou or Flopper, to get me vision out in the field over here in E2, E3. Because if we have the field covered by one Batchat and the rest of our medium tanks will sit up on this ridgeline behind the bushes, then it means that they have less chance of spotting the remaining of our mediums and give us an opportunity to see where the enemy team is going, as we get a nice early spot there on the FV4 202. Now, what am I thinking when I see that spot? Well, what I can guarantee from that is that the rest of their mediums will be down behind him in G6, and that their heavy tanks will be making their way through here into the town. What is likely by them having a T110E3 on the enemy team, if we just pause it here, if they have a T110E3, I reckon at the beginning of the game he will be coming along here to make sure nothing comes around the right hand side of the flank. Now, as a field commander, you've got to have an understanding of the maps to be able to work effectively with your team. Because, for example, if you don't know this map very well and you didn't know that, what routes you could go down this side, you could have nothing undefended here. So I say to the gaming line to go over here and cover this side, just to make sure they don't send a sneaky medium or E3 around us. Now, as it happened to turn out, they didn't have anything down there apart from the E3, and immediately we see their medium tanks make a full-scale push underneath our gun line. While what I say to our mediums in a few seconds is go and engage them. E5s help them. Now, the reason I say to the E5s help them is because I know that the E5s are in the best possible position to help them there, and I say to the I7s, we're going to go full ham into their side and make sure these E100s and E5s here in the middle cannot flank these guys. And what I've done is I've created two fights that we can win individually. We've got the medium tanks and the E5s on the left hand side, taking out all their medium tanks. We've got our heavy tanks buying these guys time to make sure that our medium tanks do their job. And there we can see the E3 behind. And I say to our guys, right, we've got to go past this E3, we've got to go past it out of his gun line. So, as me being commander, I take the lead and barge my way through past these guys to cause confusion. And you can see that FV215B is turning his turret. That E100 doesn't know what to do. The FV is not sure whether to focus me or to focus someone else. And pause it quickly here, because that's a lot of information to take in. Now, we lost one medium tank and one T110E5 for all of these tanks over this side. Not only is that down to good individual play, but it's also down to good focus fire and good covering of low health targets. Now, I'm sure our E5 and Object 140 were at the front there, taking the hits first. However, the guys behind them made sure they weren't going to die. Now, as we can see, we've only lost 4 enemy tanks. 2 of them are IS-7s, which we've lost in the town, buying time for the guys over here. If our IS-7s had still waited around that corner, we would have lost a lot more E5s. Not only because these heavy tanks who are sitting here on the enemy team would have come around this way and shot our guys in the back, but then our IS-7s would have been rendered useless. Not only would they have been around the corner waiting for the call, they'd have also not have been able to do any damage, and that would have allowed the enemy team time to kill our tanks over there. However, now we have a lot more health than them. We have a lot more numbers than them, and we also have an artillery advantage. Even though the RT's on the enemy team is alive, we have the RT advantage. And now you can just see we're just cleaning up on these last 2 enemy heavy tanks who don't stand a chance. And now it's just the T110E3 that's left alive. And he is now going to get... He's not going to feel very well anymore. So this game really was about positioning. Now, there are some things that you may not agree with, and that's fine. However, this setup for us was perfect on this map, because not only did we have just the right amount of heavy tanks, yes, we lost all of our I-7s, but they did their jobs. The role of the I-7 in this match was to make sure that the heavy tanks did not come along here. If they managed to get themselves along here, it would have made the match a lot more tricky for us. But when I sent the I-7s in here, not only did it cause confusion and it delayed these guys getting to where they wanted to be, it also made sure that our medium tanks and our E5s up top here were able to have an unfair fight in our advantage, because a fair fight is not worth having. If it's a fair fight, you don't want to have it. You only want an unfair fight in your favour. Now, whether that's health advantage, whether that's burst damage advantage, whether that's armour advantage, you make sure it's in your favour, not the enemy favour. If you see something you're not going to win a fight, don't have it. You know, bring your tanks back. Make sure you don't make that fight happen if you're going to lose tanks for it. But what you can't do is sacrifice tanks for no reason. Now, when the enemy team pushed all of their mediums down here, they lost themselves the game. Not because they invested all their tanks there, but because they left themselves with nowhere to go. Because our tanks were still up on the hill, we didn't bring anyone down. If necessary, we could have sent our medium tanks and E5s into the town to kill their I-7s. Not their E100s, sorry, not their I-7s. To help our I-7s. And then we could have dealt with these guys, and then dealt with the mediums coming around, because not only would it have taken them a while to come up this way, or around this way, we'd also have had many more options of shooting them, because we'd have had much more heavy tanks alive, and would have also had a lot more armour alive, which would have made their lives more harder. But I think the tactic that we originally used, which was our mediums and E5s around this area, basically to cover each other, with the one batch out in the town, who actually survived, by the way, because he didn't get focused, and he didn't shoot. It's critical that a batchat who comes out into the field on the Siegfried line does not shoot when he's spotting. Because not only will he give his position away, he may also suddenly get focus fired, which in strongholds and clan wars and any team battle in World of Tanks is so critical. Focus fire is key. Now, the reason our medium tanks are all still alive, and we only lost one Object 140 and one T110E5, is because of focus fire. Not only did they focus on the one tank that was on lowest health first, but they all shot the same target over and over until that guy was dead. Then you shoot the next guy and the next guy. And I think, but when you look at the skill range from our team to the enemy team, yes, it was a 65%er, but any decent field commander can turn a 65%er into a 35%er. Oh, I've just pressed a button for no reason. Now, what I think we could do differently is the I7s could maybe have got themselves dug in around this area, as then it would have created a barrier for our heavy tanks, and it means we could have got our back to the wall. However, in a really fast engagement like this, we did the right thing, which was get in their faces, don't give them time to react. Okay, so that was the first video in this World of Tanks Field Commander Quick Tip Guide video series. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a comment in the section below. It would really let me know on the feedback and any questions you have. I'll be gladly answer them. The next video series will be going over how you should read the map, what sort of things you should look out for on the map, and generally how you can win your game by just looking at the map. But anyway, this has been Roasted Lemon, and I hope to see you guys next time.